views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
This show's audio was via a Skype call.
Welcome to Knowledge Book Radio with Marge Potasic. Marge was searching for the purpose of her life and the truth that would tie everything together to make sense of what was taught and what was happening on our planet, the fire that was creating all the smoke. Through many experiences, she was finally led to the knowledge book that provided all the answers. Marge is now talking about this gift to humanity on Knowledge Book Radio, so all can be united in peace, love, and harmony. This live call-in show at 1-800-930-2819 is amazing. So get ready to hear about the knowledge book. Here's your host, Marge Potasic.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marge Potasic, and you are listening to the Knowledge Book Radio with Marge Potasic on Transformation Talk Radio. For the next hour, we will continue our series of Omega Talks, which are usually given towards the end of every month as part of the unification program of the Call to Friendship Association that's mentioned in the Knowledge Book. Now, in these talks, we connect science and spirituality by discussing some topic like world knowledge and connecting it to what the Knowledge Book says and connecting it to the Omega Dimension. Now, the Omega Dimension, as you know, as you've been reading the Knowledge Book or listening to this radio program, the 19th dimension is the Omega Dimension, and this is the dimension that has been opened to humanity through the Knowledge Book for the first time. Okay, and this week, today, we're going to be talking about love. But before we go on, our United States Knowledge Book website is www.usa.theknowledgebook.net. The Turkish World Brotherhood Union website is www.dkbdavidkiteboy-mevlana.org.tr. My telephone number for texting or calling is 973-787-7035. Again, 973-787-7035. And my email address is mmjp99@gmail.com, maryjohnpeter99@gmail.com. And the Call to Friendship website is www.calltofriendship.org. So these are the websites that you can go to get more information about the Knowledge Book. You could get information on who to contact in each country to find out more about the Knowledge Book or visit to a focal point or what the programs are that are available to you locally. Okay, so again, you can email or text me with any questions that come out of today's topic of love or from any other previous of the shows, or if you have a suggestion for a topic that you would like to have covered on one of our shows, okay? So, of course, future suggestions are very welcome and questions are very much welcome. So today we're going to be covering the topic of love. Okay, so what we'll talk about first is the types of love that there are. Of course, when you mention the word love, everybody knows or thinks they know, like me, what love is and what it's all about. And we, of course, have gone through some kind of a love emotion, some kind of a love process as we live from day to day. Now, there is also a progression of love, starting from birth to death, and prior to death of self-actualization. So we're going from birth to actualization of the self. Of course, there's altruistic love, otherwise known as altruism, and this is a love that takes care of the other more than it cares for the self. So meaning you can care for animals, take care of animals, take care of other humans, take care of everything around you, and that is placed at a higher level of importance than yourself. And of course, we'll talk about some people that exemplify this kind of love, this type of love, and those individuals who actually were at the level of altruism and worked to serve humanity and serve peace on this planet. So again, we'll be going from self-centered love to self-actualized love, or genuine, and eventually finding up at genuine love. Now, in popular culture, there are 6 types of love. The first is Eros, and this is the romantic type of love, and that's the most popular love. This is the love that you see in movies, or what is commonly known as chick flicks, where it's romantic love, the romantic setting, sunset, that's the most popular kind of movies for some segment of the population. Then, of course, there's Ludus. And this is the playful love. And this is the type of love where everything is a game. It's playful, it's a game, it's teasing, it's flirting. Then we have Storge, and this is a friendship love, and it's an affectionate love. It's not a deep love, but it's what you have between friends. In that sense, it is a deep love, but it's not the same as Eros, and it's not the same as Mania, and it's not the same as Pragma. Pragma is the next type of love, and this is a practical love. And this is founded on reason or duty and one's own longer-term interests. So you will dedicate yourself to a project, you will dedicate yourself to doing something based on your self-centered or self-localized interests. And of course, there's Mania, which is obsessive love, and it's also known as a madness by the Greeks. Okay, so the Greeks themselves had 8 categorizations of love, and basically there are many paths in life, but the longest of them all is a path to the heart. If you resist this path, you will take lifetimes to find it again. If you surrender and embrace it, you'll be home. The Knowledge Book explains that this path is our plan of destiny, specifically planned to allow and enable us through our life program to reach our heart, our essence, our spark of the spiritual totality, and unify with the totality of the spiritual energy. As long as we progress step by evolutionary step on this path, we are guaranteed to arrive at our destination. So many times we go along our merry way in life, not thinking of what's happening, how it's happening. You're basically on a roller coaster going from whatever situations you're involved with, whatever life situation you're in. And as long as you're following that program of yours and not getting off the path, then you will be able to succeed in your life program or arriving at altruistic love. Okay, now so we'll cover the types of love one by one in greater detail. And the first, of course, is Eros, which is passionate love. So Eros takes its name from the Greek god of fertility, and this best defines our modern concept of romantic love. So you have, stars in the background, sunset in the background, fireworks exploding, this kind of love. Eros is primal, it's powerful, and it is intense. It is guided by lust, pleasure, and infatuation, and it often involves a loss of control. And for this reason, the ancient Greeks didn't necessarily think that it was always a good thing. When a person is in love, they could do many crazy things, including buying someone or paying someone to get rid of their rival in some way. All kinds of crazy situations arise from someone who is very much involved in Eros and their feelings and not engaging in their logic. It can be dangerous, and it is likely to burn out quickly unless there is something else that supports this love and transforms this love into something that is of a more permanent nature and a long-lasting nature. Now, according to the Knowledge Book, this type of love is one of the ways we learn to love another human, to make someone outside the immediate biological family happy. Up until the time that we fell in love with someone, we were basically involved with our family, with ourselves, and anything that we did basically would be for our own self-satisfaction, for our own growth, and for our own guarantee of surviving. So Eros is a type of love that we need to be satiated with in order to rise to higher dimensions. Otherwise, this Eros, this love, becomes one of the chains that imprisons us on the world dimension. So love, of course, this type of love first introduces us to someone outside of our family as someone that we can connect with, as someone that we can love and care for more than they do for ourselves. So that's the initial step in there. However, if we are not fully satisfied or satiated with this love, then it becomes a chain. It becomes a prison for us and keeps us in the world dimension, and we cannot rise higher than that. Now, ludus is the next type of love, and this is a playful love. And this is often put together with eros and associated with puppy love. This is your first step as children or as young adults to introduction to the opposite sex or introduction to a loved one outside of your family medium. And this is the playful affection that you feel during the early stages of a relationship. So this can develop into eros. However, at the first stages, it is playful and it is light. And this is where you're laughing, you're teasing, you're flirting with the other person. And this also can be felt when you're joking around and laughing and bantering with friends, dancing with strangers, or sending flirty messages online. And this type of love, or ludus, always makes you feel young and euphoric and happy. Now, of course, we have an extreme kind of love, and this is mania, or obsessive love. And this is an unbalanced eros, where one party is basically tipping the scale, where they are crazy about another person. It is not balanced by their own healthy self-love, and therefore it becomes manic or madness. This is this type of love that basically brings about stalking behaviors, codependency, extreme jealousy, and violence. And these all become symptoms of mania. Now, love in itself can be a balm for low self-esteem. And mania sufferers basically are desperate to keep the sense of self-value that their desired partner provides. So we are dependent on someone else to make us feel good about ourselves. We have forgotten that self-love is necessary, that we have forgotten that we are worthy, and it is the other person that can only provide our feeling of self-worth. Now, if you are in this kind of love, you're basically obsessed with the other individual. And the Knowledge Book actually defines obsession as being stuck in a dimension. We are to experience and become satiated at every dimension and graduate to the next dimension. So in mania, we're stuck in eros. We're stuck in that one dimension where the other person is important. We ourselves are completely infatuated with that person. We stalk, we do all kinds of crazy things. Therefore, we are obsessed. Okay, and this is the dimension that we could stay at until we're fully satisfied, learned our lesson, and move on from there into a more balanced, more typical and more satisfying kind of love. Now comes family love, or storge. And this is a love that's naturally flowing between parents and children. It's a familiar fondness, most often associated with kinships, or family circles, or friendship circles. Now, this often involves an unbalanced relationship, where the flow of love is asymmetrical or even unilateral, meaning a mother for a child or a parent for a child. So the parent and the will always have more love, in a sense, than the child will have for the parent. And we can see this a lot of times in children always complaining or seemingly complain about their parents not loving them enough, or they're not getting enough of what they want, but the parents are always giving and supporting. Now, this type of love is born out of familiarity and dependency. It's unconditional love, but it's a very powerful force and can also be generated between friends, bosses and colleagues, and owners and pets. Now, in parental love, and especially motherly love, this is our first step to altruistic love, caring for others more than we care for ourselves. So this is where parents learn in a hard way a lot of times that we give, or the parents give, despite the fact that they haven't slept for a few weeks and when the child is newborn, because the child that is newborn, of course, will be demanding at all times of day and night, wanting to be fed, wanting to be changed, wanting to have something with the parents. They're not able to figure out what it is that they need to have. So this is our first step of actually putting someone else as more important than ourselves. And this is not for our own self-pleasure, as in Eros. This is not for our own self-satisfaction, but it is for the good for the other individual. So this is something that where the person who is loving, the person who is giving unconditional love and care, basically is giving their all, sometimes to depriving of themselves and making their lives more difficult. So this is also the first training wheels to connect with and to teach another. Although one energy can never dominate or overpower another, it can provide knowledge, guidance, and support, like in a teacher-student relationship or in a guru-student relationship as well. Then comes philia, and this is friendship love. This is a love between equals who share goodwill towards each other. Ancient Greeks valued philia over all other types of love. And of course we should know, and most of us know who have gone through the American school system, that Philadelphia is a city that was based on this love. That Philadelphia actually means a city of brotherly love, brotherly sisterly love. Okay, so this kind of love has deep feelings of friendship that include loyalty, sharing of emotions, both good and bad, and a sense of shared sacrifice. Philia is a virtuous, intimate companionship that has the power to transform Eros from bodily desires to spiritual understanding. So this is one of the ways in which we can transcend Eros, can transcend the bodily desires, and be able to be on an equal basis, equal footing, and be equally loving to each other. So filial love, or brotherly sisterly love, leads us to eventually accept and trust everyone, even enemies, as ourselves. And it is another method through which we extend our love to many others, not focusing solely on our lovers or biological family. Then, of course, we have pragma, or committed love. And this is a hallmark of a healthy, long-term relationships. Pragma is a deep understanding and unique harmony between two people. While Eros is about finding love, pragma is about giving love. It is characterized by patience, tolerance, and compromise as the essential elements. And this is what we usually think of when we see people who have been married for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 60 years, in which they're able to love each other on an equal basis, to sacrifice and to cooperate and work things out so they're always together. Then, of course, the most important in a way is philotia, or self-love. You cannot love another unless you love yourself. So this also encompasses having pride in your work, taking care of yourself, and maintaining a loving inner dialogue, and this is all part of philotia. When a person hates themselves, when they have self-loathing, they have little love to give to anyone else, because you can't love your neighbor as yourself unless you, of course, love yourself first. Now, of course, when you take philautia or self-love to the extreme, that's when narcissism arises. And this was an ancient Greek idea that we know very well today. And narcissism is defined by self-obsession, vanity, and a narrow focus on one's own personal gain. So, of course, narcissism would be the total opposite of altruism and loving others more than yourself. According to the knowledge book, quote, first flow into yourself, your essence, then try to comprehend the humans. If you cannot solve yourself, you cannot comprehend and solve others. You cannot see the essences. If you cannot be in peace with yourself, then you have wasted your efforts. This comes from Fascicle 17 on page 242. And of course, now we come to the ideal love, which is agape or compassionate love. So agape is selfless, unconditional love for the entire world. All your neighbors, all strangers, everybody. This exists more on the spiritual plane, and it is the highest form of love, and the one in shortest supply in society. Empathy fuels agape love, which is given freely without any desires, expectations, or judgment. Agape is the closest to what the knowledge book defines as true love or self-sacrifice. The knowledge book glossary, page 1082, self-sacrifice is, quote, devotion without expecting anything in return. So your giving is not a manipulation tool. It is not a barter tool. It is not something that you expect anything from. It is a gift, basically without a giver. And this is the state where we reach our essence, our true selves, and have succeeded in becoming genuine humans, where you're able to actually really give of yourself, your totality of yourself, without expecting anything in return. So it is not a barter, a tool, or something that buys you something else. So to go over what we've covered, thanks to the ancient Greeks, you can learn from all the different types of love in our lives. Because of these distinctions, we can learn that in order to truly enjoy passionate love, we must also search for greater depths through friendship love and cultivate playful love, avoiding obsession as our relationships mature. It's through these efforts that we'll find committed love in our soulmate relationships. Finally, through the power of self-love and compassionate love, we can come to understand how amazing our human hearts really are. Our hearts are the only things in the universe that grow larger the more they give to others. And so many times you hear people say, if you give, it'll be coming back to you multiplied 1,000-fold. Now, when we're going and we're born, then of course we become children, then adolescents, then adults, then of course we go into old age, and that is our normal progression in our physical form. And as we learn from the types of love, we evolve from self-centered or selfish love and grow to a more agape love, where we have empathy, compassion, and kindness for all living things. We become altruistic. We move away from love for our personal benefit and towards self-actualized love, a love that benefits others rather than ourselves. This evolution is explained in Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs pyramid, where we grow from physiological and safety needs like in infancy to self-actualization and become altruistic. Okay, so there's the Maslow pyramid, and basically at first you've got self-actualization. Actually, you start at the bottom of the pyramid, which is physiological needs that are water, warmth, food, and rest. Then comes safety needs or security, and making sure that we can be in a place that we are safe without being faced with any kind of attacks or any kind of danger. Then further up on the pyramid comes the belongingness and love needs. This is intimate relationships and friends. Above that is esteem needs. And this is prestige and feeling of accomplishment. This is something that you get from your surrounding environment. And of course, in the end, we have at the top of the pyramid, the apex, self-actualization. And this is where that individual has achieved one's full potential, including creative activities. So this is Maslow's pyramid of evolution, of physical evolution from infancy to old age. So in Maslow's pyramid, you begin in a survival mode where our basic physiological and safety needs are met, like when we are an infant. We gradually progress into loving relationships, respect for ourselves and others, and then into self-actualization. So basically, we go from being basically self-centered as infants, and this gives the parents the opportunity and the experience of loving someone other than themselves, loving and providing for and giving in all manner of form to an individual that is much smaller and completely dependent on you. And this is the place where we learn to sacrifice ourselves for another human, to give when we have nothing left to give. This is one of the ways that the parents learn to love greatly, okay? And of course, eventually the children grow, and this is where friendship comes in, where respect for other humans is also learned. And this is how we go from complete self-centeredness as an infant to a mature and altruistic love when we're older, or maybe if we're ahead of the game, we may learn that kind of a love much earlier and much younger. Okay. Now, in the knowledge book, this process is described in fascicle 11, page 157, as, quote, everyone evolves beginning from birth until leaving the world, quickly or gradually, in accordance with its capacity. Attaining the thought of helping others means that the ring of the ego has been broken and has broken the ego chain. What we learned from Maslow's pyramid is that self-actualization brings us to a state of accepting all that is without ego and acquiring a state of altruism. So what is altruism exactly? Altruism is the unselfish act to better the well-being of others, disregarding the well-being of the self. Now, these include behaviors that are beneficial to others that show generous tendencies, kindness to others, and helpfulness. In the Knowledge Book, fascicle 47, page 796, the moment you know that I created humans and you accept them as they are, it will mean that you have discovered the starting point of happiness. So, of course, when we are criticizing someone else, when we are judging someone else, when we are not accepting someone else, we speak through the ego, and we speak through that which is self-serving and not serving others. So, altruism. So what does it look like when one of the things that the Knowledge Book does, it helps us to figure out what we are, where we are, and how we get there, and what we're supposed to get to. So what does an altruistic person look like? Well, number one, if you see a car accident, you're the one that runs out of your own car, reports it to the police, and tries to help that individual in the accident in some way, shape, or form. This is the fireman running, into a burning building to help someone escape from the fire. It is you, It is you donating money or time to help a charity. It is someone giving an organ like a kidney, or helping an animal that has become lost or injured. And in fascicle 12, page 163 of the Knowledge Book, it states, when you give, the happiness you receive is also a matter of ego, but this moral satisfaction develops your ego in a positive way. A step towards evolvement is taken in this manner. So this is thinking of others ahead of yourself. Now, we have seen on the internet and the YouTube videos going viral of altruistic behavior of animals to animals and humans of animals. There was one recently where someone was walking down a dam because there was a dog that was caught in the stream. So he went down a huge embankment to help save the dog. And basically, he himself didn't save. Eventually, he himself couldn't save that dog. He had to get others to help him. So in the end, there were like 5 human beings, one hand holding the other hand. So it became a chain of humans, and the one on the bottom actually was able to rescue the dog. But we've seen videos of dogs rescuing cats, cats rescuing dogs, all kinds of stuff. When we've seen cats actually nursing rats or nursing dogs, or dogs nursing cats and nursing other animals as well. This is all altruistic behavior in humans. So altruism is not only the proprietary characteristic of humans, altruism also exists in animals. There's also a story of where killer whales were trying to catch a Weddell seal that had taken refuge atop a drifting patch of ice. The orcas swam alongside each other, creating a wave that knocked the seal into the ocean, and therefore death of the seal was certain, and the orcas would have succeeded in having their lunch or dinner or whatever that was. However, there was a pair of humpback whales in the area, and the panicked seal actually swam toward the whales, and a wave had tossed the seal onto the chest of the closer upturned whale. The whale arched its chest out of the water, and that's what kept the seal away from the charging killer whales. And when the seal started to fall off, the whale carefully pushed it back onto its chest with a flipper, and soon after that the seal scrambled to safety on another ice floe that was bigger. So for biologists, altruism includes any behavior that benefits another individual at a cost or risk to the altruist. So biologically speaking, the whale's behavior was altruistic. It sacrificed its own energy and safety, and the only obvious beneficiary was the seal. There are other altruistic examples in history, and of course the most famous one that maybe we are the most familiar with is of course Mother Teresa, who was a Roman Catholic nun who devoted her life to serving the poor and destitute. She spent many years in Calcutta, India, where she founded the Missionaries of Charity, a religious congregation that is devoted to helping those in great need. She was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979 and became a symbol of charitable, selfless work. In 2016, Mother Teresa was canonized, and she became Saint Teresa. So she first arrived in India in 1928. She first started an open-air school in the Calcutta slums, and she formed a hospice and medical center at Calcutta slums. She worked in the slums, in the hospice and medical centers, and leper colony. Now, of course, when you consider working in a leper colony, leprosy is very contagious, so the fact that she was working there automatically, she was taking a risk in her own life. So she worked not only in Christian communities, but also in Muslim communities in Lebanon. In 1985, she opened a home in New York called Gift of Love for those suffering from HIV and AIDS. And of course, she won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979. And in 2012, her Missionaries of Charity had over 4,500 nuns and was active in over 133 countries. So this was great altruistic work that she performed. Another example of altruism is Mahatma Gandhi. And again, he worked for the betterment of humanity. He was an Indian lawyer, an anti-colonial nationalist, and political ethicist who employed nonviolent resistance to lead the successful campaign for India's independence from British rule. and in turn inspire movements for civil rights and freedom across the world. In 1906, Gandhi led a campaign of civil disobedience that will last for the next 8 years. In its final phase in 1913, hundreds of Indians living in South Africa, including women, went to jail, and thousands of striking Indian miners were imprisoned, flogged, and even shot. Finally, under pressure from the British and Indian governments, the government of South Africa accepted a compromise, which included important concessions such as the recognition of Indian marriages and the abolition of the existing poll tax for Indians. So this was actually what was the birth of passive resistance. In 1919, Gandhi launched an organized campaign of passive resistance in response to Parliament's passage of the Rowland Acts, which gave colonial authorities emergency powers to suppress subversive activities. He backed off after violence broke out, including the massacre by British-led soldiers of some 400 Indians attending a meeting at Amritsar, but only temporarily, and by 1920 he was the most visible figure in the movement for Indian independence. After the Labour Party took power in Britain in 1947, negotiations over Indian Home Rule began between the British, the Congress Party, and the Muslim League. Later that year, Britain granted India its independence. Gandhi urged Hindus and Muslims to live peacefully together and undertook a hunger strike until riots in Calcutta ceased. Of course, another altruistic individual that we know and homegrown in the United States is Martin Luther King Jr., and he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. He was an American civil rights leader, and he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his nonviolent resistance to racial prejudice in America. At 35 years of age, the Georgia-born minister was the youngest person ever to receive the award. And of course, we all know his work, we all know the effect of his work, and the fact that he was able, through nonviolence, to influence the country. And this individual, who was also mentioned in the Knowledge Book, is Bertrand Russell. And he also fought for peace. He founded a foundation called the Bertrand Russell Peace Foundation in 1963. And this foundation aims to continue the work of the philosopher and activist Bertrand Russell in the areas of peace, social justice, and human rights, with a specific focus on the dangers of nuclear war. The Knowledge Book itself contains a message from Bertrand Russell and a short explanation about him in fascicle 33, page 523. Over his long career, Bertrand Russell made significant contributions to mathematical logic, analytic philosophy, education, political theory, and religious studies. In 1916, his pacifist views cost him his position at Trinity College, Cambridge, and later in life he went on to become a prominent figure in the anti-war and anti-nuclear movements, in particular leading public reaction to the first hydrogen bomb test by the United States in 1952 and the Soviet Union in 1953. He also formulated something called the Ten Commandments, and which are: 1. Do not lie to yourself. 2. Do not lie to other people unless they are exercising tyranny. 3. When you think it is your duty to inflict pain, scrutinize your reasons closely. 4. When you desire power, examine yourself closely as to why you deserve it. 5. When you have power, use it to build up people, not constrict them. 6. Do not attempt to live without vanity, since that is impossible, but choose the right audience from which to seek admiration. 7. Do not think of yourself as a wholly self-contained unit. 8. Be reliable. 9. Be just. 10. Be good-natured. So this is Bertrand Russell's 10 Commandments. And actually his commandment to not to live without vanity. We all take pride in certain things, and we want to have the good opinion of others. However, he is cautioning to make sure that the people that we want good opinions from are worthy as well. So there is an excerpt from Bertrand Russell, and it's from a speech that he made on the 17th of January 1959 at the European Congress on Nuclear Disarmament. Quote, "In our present world, every thoughtful man and woman is oppressed with a load of terror and guilt and consciousness of vast hatreds. The human spirit cannot free itself to rejoice in the progress of knowledge and in the consciousness of a worldwide cooperation towards happiness and freedom of spirit. The long ages of human misery were due to ignorance and folly. Hitherto, though ignorance has grown less, folly has remained. It is open to mankind if it will allow itself to enter up into the entirely possible heritage of joy, to inaugurate a new era surpassing anything known in previous history. The decision rests with human beings. If they so choose, a new glory is theirs. We must hope that they will not prefer a dark and unnecessary doom." This, of course, also echoes the Knowledge Book philosophy and the Knowledge Book statement and warning that the fate of the human is in humans' own hands, that we ourselves will be our own judge and executioner, our own judge and jury, and we will be able to either be happy with ourselves for the work that we have done, or we will hang ourselves. So the rope, what the Knowledge Book uses an analogy throughout, that the rope is handed into our own hands. We could either save ourselves with it, or we could hang ourselves with it. So Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and Bertrand Russell are all examples of altruistic individuals. To quote the Knowledge Book, "Endeavors beyond distances are for the people of the world who are not after personal benefit. Our wishes are for your happiness, peace, and serenity." Fascicule 13, page 189. "In future, humankind will be more humanitarian, more conscious, more tolerant." Fascicule 13, page 191. "In mediums where there is no self-sacrifice, happiness cannot find shelter. To expect rewards for your deeds will close the gates of happiness for you." Fascicule 14, page 193. So there we come now to genuine love. As you progress through the stages of love, you come to genuine love. And in the Knowledge Book, Fascicule 12, page 174, quote, "Love gains power in accordance with the potentials of frequencies. It is a whole. It loses its power as it is divided into fragments. Love is a great vibration that cannot be confined to petty feelings. If you notice, we say vibration, we do not say feeling. Feelings are your bodily desires. They are not love. There is giving in genuine love, but there is no reciprocation. In unselfish love, you are integrated with nature and exalted spiritually. In genuine love, the marvelous vibrations that rise and flows from you, melting in all beauty, will cause you to transcend beyond your walls of thought and cognizance. The description of love is given from the essence. It is our wish that these beautiful feelings may radiate in the essence heart of everyone." And now it looks like we have time for a break. You are listening to the Knowledge Book Radio with March Patazik, and I'd like to remind everyone that the U.S. Knowledge Book website is www.usa.theknowledgebook.net. Telephone number for questions and topics is 973-787-7035. The Call to Friendship website is www.calltofriendship.org. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The
truth is funny. Shift Happens with Colette Marie Steffen is excited to welcome Karen Benton as a monthly guest host. Tune in on the third Wednesday of each month at 8 a.m. Pacific Time to regain confidence and trust in your capacity to create change in your life, your health, your family, and your well-being. Karen Benton is a mother, nurse practitioner, certified body talk practitioner, Franklin Method instructor, and owner of Limitless Living LLC. For more information about Karen, visit KarenBenton.com.
Our angels and animals are always working for and around us. Darcy Pariso knew from an early age she felt this incredible presence that was confirmed for her in a Reiki Level 1 course. From then on, she has honed her skills and dedicated her talents to providing answers, inspiration, and tools for people to move past limiting blocks and past traumas to truly live a life of happiness. For more information about working with Darcy, visit darcypariso.com.
Tune in to Knowledge Book Radio with host Marge Potasic each Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Through many experiences, Marge was led to the Knowledge Book, a gift to humanity in its transition to the Golden Age, and it provided the truth and the answers. She now shares information from the Knowledge Book with you each week on TransformationTalkRadio.com. For more information, visit usa.theknowledgebook.net.
To find answers to life's questions, you need to look within yourself. Dr. Glenna Rice brings your questionable conversations on Transformation Talk Radio each month. Tune in each month for insight into how you can live up to your full potential. Dr. Glenna is a physical therapist, certified Access Consciousness, and Access Body Class facilitator. How does it get any better than this? For more information on Dr. Glenna Rice and her work, visit glennarice.com.
Are you feeling stuck in unhealthy habits, toxic relationships, or low self-esteem? Do you crave a healthy relationship filled with inspiration? You might just be on the verge of attracting your soulmate. Tune in each month to The Laura Richer Show, where dating coach Laura Richer and co-host matchmaker Peggy Bennett share tools for using your dating breakdown for a relationship breakthrough. For more information, visit richerhealinghypnosis.com.
What is a brilliant culture, and how do we create them? Why are they important? Claudette Rowley has created a breakthrough 5-step process to help you align your culture with your business strategy for exceptional results. Looking for a culture that drives organizational excellence? Listen to Cultural Brilliance Radio, the second and fourth Friday of each month at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio. To learn more or work with Claudette, visit culturalbrilliance.com.
And we're back on the Knowledge Book Radio with Marge Potasic on Transformation Talk Radio. And again, the reminder, website is www.usa.theknowledgebook.net. We have 2 focal points, one in New York City and Manhattan and one in Queens. So please refer to the website as to what the locations and the times are. My telephone number for topics and suggestions and questions is 973-787-7035. My email address is mmjp99@gmail.com, maryjohnpeter@gmail.com. And, of course, we'll now continue with our topic of love. Now, of course, the Greeks and the current age psychologists had their own idea of love, but basically the Creator, Allah, God, whatever name you want to ascribe to that entity that is unknowable, unreachable, and ununderstandable, is that love is what brought us into existence, both physically, and brought everything into existence physically. Love is the power that holds everything together, that creates everything that exists. It is the source of everything. It is the exit to everything. It is everything. So in the Knowledge Book, it actually explains that love is a vibration. It is something that is characterized by giving from the essence, expecting nothing in return. So this is something that we aspire to, and this is what actually will allow us to come back to and reach our initial essence. Of course, every one of us has a spark of the divinity, and that spark of the divinity is our essence. It is love. It is that love that is altruistic love, and this is genuine love, genuine true love and altruistic love. So during our path from the cradle to the grave, through our path of evolution, this is what we are going. We are going from ego to altruism. We are going from the self that is the third dimension self at zero frequency. We are going from that self that is only consumed by self-preservation and making sure that we have the biggest piece of the pie and making sure that we are able to continue our existence at the cost of sometimes of someone else or something else. So we are slowly through the different types of love that are available to us. Number one, self-love, self-centered love, family love, friendship love between friends, even mania, even eros, even lust. All these are different steps in our development of love and getting us to finally the established, matured level of love, which is altruistic love, and which allows us to live and to progress and go back to our essence. So our entire journey from cradle to grave is our current plan of destiny that we have planned for ourselves in conjunction with the powers that be, with the celestial authorities, that in this lifetime we will go through specific experiences for us to be able to learn to think of others before ourselves. However, and right now, the programs of the Knowledge Book are specifically designed for us to be able to, number one, see what the other person is, see what they need, and how we can help. So this is where, let's say, the counsel program enables us to accept, understand, love, and tolerate another individual. We grow to be able to cooperate with someone else. So we initially start learning to cooperate in a family situation. We learn how to share toys. We learn how to share experiences. We learn how to share and love each other in a family situation. All these are learning scenarios that allow us to go from ego to essence, to leave the ego behind and to fly to the higher dimensions. So when we reach altruistic love, when we become genuine humans, when our evolution level is equal to the spiritual level that we come into the planet with that spark, when our evolution level, when our energy, when our spiritual totality, we're able to merge with, that's when we're able to go to the higher dimensions. We leave the world behind. The thing with love is make sure that we do not get stuck in any one place. We don't get stuck in being this self-centered narcissist where it's me, I at the cost of others, where we don't get stuck where in our family love, where it is my family that's the most important, everybody else's family is no good, and we can rob and cheat and do whatever it is that we want to them, and even shoot people who are not in our family. So we don't get stuck in any of these dimensions. We don't get stuck in friendship love too, because we need to be able to rise above friendship, rise above the family love, rise above self-centered love. These are all steps to learn to love, to learn that there is someone outside of ourselves that maybe needs help, that maybe is like us, that is maybe, needing something just like we are needing it. And that is a step-by-step procedure that's set up for us, situation set up for us to be able to learn, to be tested, and to practice what it is that we need to do. So that is our plan of destiny. This is what we came into this planet with, and our entire job is to get from the third dimension, which is zero world frequency, to get to the eighth dimension. And that is a process of evolution that is provided for us, that is explained in the Knowledge Book, and the programs are also explained by individuals because programs change as humans change. So we continue step by step, evolving in love and experiencing love, or allowing ourselves to experience love and experience the tests or the roadblocks that we have to make sure that the roadblock doesn't stop us, but it becomes basically a way for us to jump up to a higher dimension. So our entire journey and our path of life is to go from self-centeredness like a baby to altruistic, mature love like a genuine human, that's explained in the knowledge book. So when you can give someone the shirt off your back, when you can give food when you yourself are hungry, then you're at the point that you have reached altruistic love. So to tie everything together, love is important and love is critical. However, now is the juncture where we go into logic, and that is also important, and that needs to be the guiding principle. So please remember there are focal points in the United States, that there are programs available for people reading, writing, focal points, counsel, totality of 18. We still are giving out the 3 free chapters from the knowledge book, so email me or text me your address and we'll be able to ship those off to you. And please remember that humanity's verdict is in humanity's hands. The rope is in our hands. We will hang ourselves or save ourselves. As the knowledge book states, and Mrs. Chirac frequently reminds us, you are the ones who will save the world. Good luck. Thank you. See you next week. Bye.
You've been listening to Knowledge Book Radio with Marge Potasic. Marge was led to the Knowledge Book, a gift to humanity, and its time of transition to the Golden Age that provided the truth and energies and frequencies. Now, she shares information from and answers questions about the Knowledge Book with you each Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. For more information, visit Marge at usa.theknowledgebook.net.